Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. And I am not doing a ball diff. I'm sorry for those of you that have the Bear kit and didn't get one of the other options. I'm not going to demonstrate how to build a ball diff. They look complicated. They are very simple. Adjusting them, tuning them is a little more complicated, but putting this together is not going to break you. Now, you have a lot of options. You can get a... Let me just pull the part out, because I'm going to be moving on to this here in a moment. Okay, you can get this 374901. This is a gear differential kit for the Formula One car. And I prefer gear diffs to ball diffs. They highly recommend the gear differential in their literature. So they prefer it. They just sell it like this because this is less expensive. I don't know. In any event, there are multiple options. Okay, you can take your standard ball diff with the hollow steel axle and run that. Okay, you can run the ball diff with a graphite rear axle. Now, I haven't talked a lot about rotating mass or unsprung weight in this video because, number one, unsprung weight really isn't much of a factor with this car. We don't have long swing arms with, you know, big wheels and tires bouncing around. Everything's pretty tight. Rotating mass, though, is very important for acceleration. So, for example, the Tamiya F104 that I built last year, great car, love it, still have it. I swapped the solid steel, I think it was a chrome moly shaft, but it's a solid steel shaft, and it's very, very heavy. That is rotating mass that you've got to get up to speed every time you try to accelerate. So the lighter that rotating assembly is, the quicker the car is going to accelerate. Now, they use a hollow steel shaft, and it's the same thing here with this basic kit. This basic kit comes with a steel drive shaft, and I may keep that for a good while because it is a little bit heavier than graphite. At the same time, it's very, very strong, and it's not nearly as heavy as a solid axle would be because it is a tube. It's not a solid bar. Okay, now they make a graphite rear gear diff axle shaft. In other words, an upgrade for this kit. Okay, they also make a solid axle. They don't say what it's made out of. I have a feeling it's not made out of carbon. I have a feeling it's going to be steel. It may be, but I would think they would have said so. Now, there are advantages to running a locker on a car like this. You would say, well, why would you do that? Well, have any of you guys done go-kart racing? If you have, you know that running a locked rear end can really have its benefits. All the power goes equally to both wheels all the time. Now, that impacts your steering, but straight line acceleration, you never lose control of the go-kart because one wheel is spinning up and the other wheel isn't. And then catching, and then you snap sideways. That never happens with a solid axle. So if you set the car up with all the tuning stuff, you know, moving toward aggressive steering and then ran a rear locker, you could compensate for the lack of a differential. And it might not even remotely be a problem. I may try one at some point just to drive it and talk to you guys about it. I like gear differentials over ball differentials because I just think they're more consistent. I like the ability to tune with fluid as opposed to tensioning on the balls, and you never bark a gear diff. Ball diffs, you're not going to bark them in a car like this. It's not an off-road car. You're not jumping. But you never get it too loose and have that gear just spin. And it is a good ball diff. I think I mentioned this in a previous video that they use 12 balls instead of the 8 that you find in the Tamiya car. And 8 points of contact, I feel, just isn't enough. I would have even liked to have seen 16, but 12 is getting there. That's definitely good. And they do offer a set of ceramic balls for your ball diff, and they also offer a ceramic caged thrust bearing set. Now you get a caged bearing set for your ball diff stock, which is very nice. That's a really nice upgrade. Most RC cars that have a ball diff do not give you a caged thrust bearing, and Xray does. Xray does so many things that are just high-end, just perfect. They really are luxury RC cars. And so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this. So if you do have this car and you're thinking about getting it and you want to do some of these upgrades, like you want to get the locker, or you want to get the you want to go with a ball diff and you want the graphite axle, or if you want to get this and upgrade the graphite, go online to Xray's website and go to the download link at the top of the page for this particular car or any of their other cars that you may be buying. On their download page, you will find setup sheets, editable setup sheets, the basic setup sheet, the manual, and in the manual you will find all of the option parts that they offer and the part numbers, so you can order them. For example, if you're going to run ball diffs and you want some different gearing, here are all the ball diff spur gears that they offer. And then you've got the locker, you've got the gear diff graphite, you've got gear diff spur gears. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have more gear choices with the ball diff. I'm curious as to which of these gears goes with a solid axle. I'm betting it's the ball diff spur gears, because the gear diff spur gears have 4 bolts and the solid axle has a 3-bolt pattern. So I'm guessing it's going to be those. Anyway, I'm chattering enough. It's time to move forward. I will demonstrate the diff build for those of you who decide to do this upgrade, and I apologize to those of you who were hoping to see a ball diff build, but any other kit I've got that has a ball diff, it's all the same. And like I said, it's a fairly simple process. You should be able to put that together without any trouble. They certainly give enough information on tricks and tips. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to open this bag. I'm going to trim out all these pieces and get all the parts organized so I can do the assembly, and then I will come back at you. Okay, I went ahead and did this. I wanted to just show you what I was talking about here. Basically, I've got all the screws that I need. So if I want to put this on out at the track, I don't have to rummage around for stuff. Everything I need is there, whether I wanted to go with 2 or 3 connections. This is a pretty complicated diff assembly here. So two different satellite gears. So for this one, we want the one with the long cut in it, not this one right here with this wider shape. That's going to be for this axle here. So first things first, we're going to need this, and I'm going to go ahead and use the 600 CST that comes in the kit. I've got some other fluids, but this is their very nice set of recommendations for low traction, medium traction, and super high traction. So the thicker oils we use for higher traction, the thinner ones for low traction. I'm going to go ahead with the 600 since I am running on very low traction. It's asphalt and we're still in the pollen season. I might thicken this up down the road, but I'm going to start with a much looser diff. This is one of the advantages of a gear diff that you cannot do with a ball diff. You can only loosen the ball diff so much before the gear starts spinning and the balls aren't giving you a differential action. Gear diffs will always give you a differential action. You're always going to get proper power delivery. It's never just going to spin. So things to consider if you decide to go in this direction. Okay, so first I need to get a little bit of oil down in here. And we need to put our O-ring in place. And go ahead and drop that in there. Okay, now we need one of the large shims. Okay, so now needle nose pliers works well for this. So does a set of forceps. Okay, I'm going to try the forceps. Understand? Okay. This way through. There we go. A very nice, smooth differential action. Just make sure everything is snug. Well, that's wonderful. Smooth as silk. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that gear or a different gear, so first, now that I've got the diff assembled, it's time to go into the bag for all of these other parts. And this is going to get put in here. I'll fold it in half. Okay, diff is done. We'll go into that in a minute. Okay, well, we've got a substantial difference in gear sizes. So 80 tooth versus our stock pinion gear, our spur gear here is 96. Now, do they give us gear ratios? Well, they are not giving us anything recommended right now, so I have no choice but to go with the stock gear that comes with this. Now, the question is, does it go like that, or does it go the other way? Yep, I have it right. Okay, so I have to say that's a little odd that we get an 80 versus a 96. I would have assumed that we would have had the same size gear. So we got a pair of 2.5s loose. Now it looks like we are recommended to use the 1.0. So that's the two of those. And in the upper setting, so all of these pieces get stored for future use. Make sure this is tight, and I should put some Loctite on this. I just put it on there to wait until I got to this side here to see what was going on. Okay. So we are not going to need this or this. Surprised we only got one of those. I think there would be a pair. Okay. These guys here are extra shims for widening or narrowing the rear track. And I mentioned go-karting a little while ago. Any of you who have ever go-karted know that widening your front and rear track is one of the easiest ways to change the handling of your go-kart, correct for oversteer or understeer, things like that. So we are stock supposed to use 2 millimeters, which should be, yep. So we'll just use the big guy right there, and these remaining, there's 2 1s and 2 halves, so we can add anywhere from a 2.5 well, we can go down to a 0.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeters total to either side. So let's see. Okay, we need bearings, and we have a pair of flanged bearings, which is these 2 bearings. Now we're coming up on the moment where I get to figure out if that fan is going to fit. Some of those bearings undoubtedly are for, yes, the inside of the diff, which we're not running. Now it looks like we are touching, just. So this fan is a little thick, so what am I going to do about that? Well, there's other ways of anchoring a fan on here. So let's just start by taking that off. Okay, I'm gonna take these diff parts. Pretty sure that's, yeah, it is. Okay, just like on my other car, they like to have a small amount of side play. Not enough. Wow. Spinning, spinning, still spinning. And hey, it's still spinning. I don't need any of that. Okay, shock absorber. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and please subscribe to my channel.